There we go. Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we're talking about booking parties from your kitchen table. This is the abbreviated version. We do longer versions of this training, 30 minutes or an hour even, where we literally sit down and we talk about each step and we do it as we're going. But today what we're going to do is just talk about the basic format of how this works. So when I started in direct selling 20 some years ago, it was totally from my kitchen table. And
Wow.
that didn't change for a really long time. And so I've been in the industry for, like I said, probably 21 years now, 13 with Touchstone. And it wasn't until maybe 6 or 7 years ago that I actually had an office. So everything that I have ever done has been at my kitchen table. All my major growth in both of my companies, especially this one, has been from my kitchen table. So um, that just thinking about that history tells me that it's focusing on the basics that will get you everything that you want. It doesn't require a special setup. It's just a notebook and a good note taking system of some kind, and a willingness to leave your emotions at the door. That's really going to be the key to success in this. Anything that goes below a neutral baseline in your emotions is going to dampen your enthusiasm and cause you to say, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to keep, I've done enough, right? That mindset is going to be counterproductive to what you want to accomplish, which is booking more parties. So the first thing that I want you to understand is that getting the ball rolling is the hardest part. Once you get the ball rolling and you get a few parties on your calendar, then we have really great ways of booking parties from parties through Great Host Coaching. So that's the next layer of booking parties, is from parties. That's the easier way to book parties. But when you're just getting started, when you're kickstarting a party calendar, when your party calendar has dipped, and it happens to everybody, and all of a sudden you run out of things. And it's the same thing. From your kitchen table, you can do this, but it takes an intensity of effort that's a little bit unusual, and not everybody wants to do it. So I want to encourage you. It's not quick. It can take some intensity of effort, but that's a good thing. I mean, that's good for us to press into a task and to see results. So the first thing you have to do is identify when you want to work. You have got to pull out your calendar and identify when you cannot work and when you do want to work, because we're in business. We get to decide who we want to work with, when we want to work, how often we want to work. You totally get to decide that. But the calendar, there's something about that visual calendar that's going to help you be more determined to fill those dates. And it clears your mind about what you're offering to people. So first thing, decide when you're willing to work. I would recommend, since we're on the cusp of September, that you sit down with your September and October calendars and mark those dates when you are willing to work, and absolutely mark off the ones that you unequivocally will not. Alicia is really a master at this because she has to be. Others of us are like, I'll do a party whenever, but I'll tell you what, that is a defeating philosophy. It won't work. What will work is being specific about when you really want to do your parties and creating a system. As an aside, if you want to build a team, then you are modeling for them. And usually it's your hostesses that will join you. You're modeling for them how they can do this too. When you're telling them, I do parties on Tuesdays and Thursdays and one weekend a month, right? They're like, oh, it doesn't have to take over my whole life, right? Which is really important. The second thing that you got to do is figure out, who are you excited to do a party with? And there are lots of little pneumatics, or whatever the word is, that you can go through to figure out who to offer a party to. But if you're starting from square one, I think it's who in different circles of friends would be fun to do a party with. So I can remember starting with my first company at Southern Living at Home. I thought, okay, I've got my church friends, I've got the moms from the PTA, I've got people that I used to know at this other church, I've got my neighbor ladies, I've got just friends that I've met around town, people from baseball, the baseball moms. And I had these different circles that they did not really know one another. And that was really important because I wanted to get into those circles and do parties with them. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of times your closest people are not going to be your best people. The best parties that you can
No.
do, what, Alicia?
Bingo.
Bingo. The best parties that we can do are with acquaintances, and it's for two reasons. The first is that they're not doing it as a favor to you. Oh, poor Betsy, she's just starting this, or she's just always trying to get parties, and I just feel bad for her. So I'm just gonna. She'll appreciate whatever whatever I do. Right. So that is so. But the cool thing is, an acquaintance is going to do it because she wants jewelry, or because she wants to get her girlfriends together, and it's a simple excuse to do that, or she just loves to entertain. The other reason is that the acquaintance knows all the people that you don't know. And that is where you book more parties, right? If you know everybody in the room, what's the likelihood that anybody's going to book a party? Because they're like, well, all my friends are right here. It becomes, and sometimes they'll be like, it's your turn, it's your turn. You'll get a revolving door, and that's okay. But that's not going to really build your business. What's going to build your business is these parties with acquaintances who are going to introduce you to all the people that you've never met before. And then you can book parties with all of them. That's how we avoid burning out our friends. It is the number one strategy that we have to keep in mind. So what we're going to do is, now we know when we want to party, figure out what are my different circles. Even if you just take a big piece of paper and you start making big circles around your page and you label them. And within each circle, you identify who is that girl, or maybe who are those two girls. Either they love to entertain, or they are magnets. They just know everybody. They love everybody. They're gracious. She's hospitable. Maybe she's just a fashionista. Maybe she's always wearing jewelry, right? Maybe she's a great cook. The other one is somebody who has a great house or has just renovated something and might want to show it off. So this becomes the excuse to show off the fun thing that she just did at her house. All of these are good reasons. And so we can't limit ourselves and say, oh, it's just going to be somebody who loves jewelry. That's not it at all. We are the fun. We are the excuse for them to get their girlfriends together. She may have lots of other reasons for making it happen, but we're simply the excuse, right? And we can approach them. So when you have these circles on your page and you write in a couple of names within that, then you go from there and you start offering, okay, now what's my message, right? That's the next step, is what's my message? Well, it depends on the person. It depends on the relationship that you have with them. If you're brand new and just kickstarting your business after a long spell, then you want to start off with, I'm so excited. I haven't talked to you in a really long time, but I'm looking for really fun party hostesses to help me kick off the new fall collection. And because this is a really great excuse to get your girlfriends together. Would you like to hear more? So it could be something as simple as that. You're just kind of finding out what the interest level is. If it's somebody who already likes your jewelry, it might be a different message. It might be, I was just following up, making sure you're loving your jewelry. And I wanted to see, would you like to book a party sometime before Christmas? So what I am finding is that you can do two things. You can go after them for a specific time frame, or you can go after them for I don't want to say go after them, not in a bad way, but just like you can approach them also for a more generic time frame, and then hone in on the dates that you really want them to do a party. But what I'm finding is that when I say, I wanted to see if you'd like to do a party sometime before the holidays. Before the holidays is a very enticing phrase, because it gives lots of space, lots of room, lots of time, and it casts the vision of what would be them picturing a fun holiday type party with their friends shopping for Christmas gifts. So that is more likely to get a yes than, would you like to do a September party? Sometimes you will get a yes for September. You absolutely will. And you'll have your party dates. But here's the cool thing. Let's say she says yes to the idea of sometime before the holidays, right? Then you can say, great, would you want a weekend or a weeknight? And she'll say, oh, I would want a weeknight. Okay, great. The first two that I have available are, and you give her your first two September dates. And then if she says, no, I was thinking more about November, you say, great, not a problem. And you give her your first 2 November dates that are available. Okay. So it's a little bit of a dichotomy. You're kind of going ticking through the list like that. But so, you can offer specific dates in your reach out, or you can be a little more broad brush about it and then start winnowing down to the answer that you really want. Here's the key. If you don't hear back from somebody, you got to circle back around, because you're going to hear back from way more people the second time than you did the first time. And I know I get a pit in my stomach every time I do it. And I'm thinking, I'm bugging her. But I know it. That's just, again, that's my emotions going below baseline. But my head is telling me, if most people are probably a lot like me, I don't always get around to answering something the first time. I just don't. And I mean to. I really do. I sincerely do. And you all do. But it's not always practical because we have so many messages hitting us all day long, right? We want to
Mhm.
give them another opportunity to think about it, because she's probably thinking about it but couldn't answer it. So we're giving her grace is what we're doing. We're not bugging her. We are giving her grace, and coming back to her and saying, "Hey, just making sure you saw this. I was thinking about you." Okay? That's giving somebody grace, meaning she didn't answer me. She probably just didn't have a chance to. And I think that's an important component of what we do. We have to always give grace to people and assume the best of their intentions. Um, so hold yourself accountable to go back. Now, here's the hard part, is that sometimes, not always, but sometimes it takes way more reach outs to get those parties on the calendar than you think it ought to. That's normal. It is normal. Again, you're kickstarting something. The kickstarting is the hardest part. If you can get past that gauntlet, you're going to be able to go and host coach those parties on your calendar and be booking parties from the parties. Okay. We have other ways of doing that, but the key is just get several on your calendar the way you want them, and then we will help you get the rest of those parties lined up as you're executing the ones that you've got. Okay, so I've got to go. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to stop recording
Yes.
now.